What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching on the replay or in the future at any point, what you're going to want to do is skip ahead to about the 10-minute mark. That's when the conversation is going to start, because what we're going to do first is do some giveaways and some other fun stuff that it just won't make a lot of sense for you to be here for if you're watching in the future. But if you are one of those people watching on the replay, and before you jump to 10 minutes, I do have a question for you, and that is, what the hell's wrong with you? All the best stuff happens if you're here live. That's when you can ask questions of our guests. That's when you can get to participate in our giveaways. And that's when a lot of the cool shit happens. So what you need to do is go ahead and click the subscribe button and the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, or I think that's it, LinkedIn, do whatever it is you do there to get notifications as well, because you don't want to miss out. You want to be able to interact with our guests and be here when videos drop and all of that jazz. So having said that, what I'm going to do next is go over to the Legit merch store. And well, actually, you know what? I'm going to skip before I get into that. We already got a good amount of folks on. Could you do me a favor though, and let me know if you can see and hear us okay? I had some issues earlier, and then my guest did just a few minutes ago. So I want to make sure that everybody can see and hear me, so that I'm not talking to myself in public, because that makes me crazy, and I don't want to be known as the crazy guy, at least for that. So anybody that's on, please say, yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can see you. We can hear you well. Fantastic. That is Wahab. And Jason says yes. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And then we'll give away some merch, and then we'll get into it with our guest who's got some great stuff lined up for us. So, all right, you should be able to see on your screen the Legit merch store, which is located at shop.legit.com and has the correct logo after years of not, and the favicon is still not updated. But what we're going to be giving away here in a moment is if you click shop our gear. Gear does not mean anything that you stick in your veins. In this case, it means our legit merch. So, what's up, Steven? We got, mugs, we got t-shirts, backpacks, a tote bag, a golf ball that no one ever chooses. I guess we don't have any golfers here. Mouse pad, a hat, and lots of other cool stuff. So what I'm going to ask you to do here in just a minute is to put in a particular term in the chat or in the comments or whatever it is, wherever you're watching. And what that's going to do is enter you into a drawing to win for one person to win a piece of legit merchandise. And what it's also going to do is help us get more eyeballs on this stream, because that will force it into people's feed. So that's kind of the tech there for those of you that are wondering why we do this, as well as just getting more of our merch out there. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm actually prepared for once and have the tool already. So now we just have to choose a term. And I think for today, we're just going to go simple and go Umar, our guest's name. So we'll get him trending if we can. So go ahead and type in Umar in the chat or in the comments or whatever it is where you're watching. And fortunately, I don't have to do the, what do you call it? The Facebook group thing anymore, because they removed access to that. So that is one less pain in the ass for me to do. And while we're doing that, I'm going to hop over to Facebook and piss off some people with an @everyone tag, because God, do people get upset about that? If I can find it. Oh, that's right. I have to share it to that's fucking stupid. All right, let me see. That's going to hurt our attendance. That sucks. Let's see if I can do it this way. Share more options. Share to a group. Fan-fucking-tastic. All right, let's go to that one. Post. And lots of people saying Umar. Everybody wants that legit merch. I guess I should warn you, if you are a gentleman and you wear some legit merch in public, you're going to be absolutely swarmed by ladies. They just cannot help themselves. They love the legit merch. None of that's true, but I wish it were. All right. So hopefully that worked. All right, let's see. This is my first time having a stream since they Facebook removed the Facebook Groups API, so I can't stream directly to groups, so I have to share it to a group. So you know, it's a pain in the butt. All right, lots of folks saying Umar. All right, so hopefully that's good enough in this case. Let me do one other thing to get as many eyeballs as possible, because I want people to be able to take advantage of being here live and talking to our incredible guest. Let's turn that off. And followers at highlights live now. All right. Lots of folks still saying it, saying Umar's trying to grab that merch.
I can guess the winner, by the way.
Oh yeah, who's gonna win?
Either designer Wahab, or there is a guy named Inzam. Let's see.
Yeah, they like it. Honestly, it doesn't. You don't get more entries by doing it more than once, but it helps us get seen more. So,
okay.
So I never complain about that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Let's see.
Just making sure that this worked. Yeah, if you're in Facebook groups, yeah, it probably isn't going to pick up your comment. I'm sorry, I don't think there's anything I can do about that because of the way it works. So try to follow on my personal profile or on YouTube. I think that'll be a better solution. And then I'll figure out something in the meantime or in the future. I was going to go crazy and be on TikTok today too, but I forgot. Got some folks on Instagram too, which is interesting because I have 0 following on Instagram. I mean, I don't. Oh, thank you, Stephen. We very much appreciate that. Haven't talked to you in a while, Stephen. Do you know Stephen too?
Yeah, he's my great friend from Poland.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, White Press is a good site.
Yeah. And we use them for international link building as well, like for the non-English markets. So for particular cases, like wherever we need them. We will talk about it later in the video. So yeah.
All right, we're going to go about 1 more minute and then we're going to wrap up because I lost track of time. But if you want to get that Legit merch, you got about, I don't know, less than a minute remaining. This is the part of the stream where I complain that the Windows 11 clock doesn't show you the seconds. I don't know why that is, but it drives me absolutely insane. Such an obvious like feature to leave in. And then we'll choose our winner and then we'll get into it. Few seconds remaining, so slide into the comments. If you're on Facebook in a Facebook group, you're probably going to need to go to my personal profile or to YouTube if you want to participate, because I don't know. I guess when I have lunch with Zuckerberg next week, I'll talk to him about that.
If anyone is just still thinking, just go ahead and comment it. No one is going to judge you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but actually now you can go ahead and stop because we're going to pick our winner. Big moment. Who's it going to be?
Umar, maybe designer.
The winner is Fiki
Fiki, yeah.
Fiki Masal. So congratulations, Vicky. Let me save that. What you are going to want to do is come over to shop.legit.com and choose the piece of merchandise that you would like. And if it's something that requires a size, you're going to obviously note what size that you need. And then you're going to come over to Legit Proper, which is an interesting way of putting it, to Legit, the main site. And then you're going to message our support team, tell them that you won, and tell them what size you need if it's a size object and what your mailing address is. And they will get that out to you as soon as possible. So congratulations, Vicky. Let's move on. All right. Today, I am joined by Umar Faizan, a longtime SEO expert, link building, white label SEO, AI. He really has the full toolkit. He's got a lot of great information he's going to share with us today. And of course, one of the best things about having great guests like Umar on is it means less work for me to do. So that's really the key to all of this is, content that requires the minimal amount of effort from me. So thank you for that. And thank you, Umar, for being here. How's it going?
All good. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Awesome. So I know it's late for you, so I appreciate you making time for us. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Maybe you can give us a little bit of background on yourself and where you started, where you are now, and kind of like your origin story plus what you're doing these days.
For sure. Yeah. Hey everyone, this is Omar, and I'm currently the founder of Growth Winner, and we are an SEO and link building agency, and we mostly do white label stuff for other agencies. And for my background and stuff, I started off from Fiverr, those $50 or $5 gigs, back in early 2019, and then I just moved towards getting some direct clients from Facebook and stuff. I used to share my case studies in groups, and then I got a couple of my clients who wanted to work directly, not using any platform like Fiverr or Upwork. So yeah, along the way, I built some of my affiliate websites. Those were monetized with Amazon, and we made pretty good money with that. But with the recent updates with like September, March, and all of that stuff, the shit is happening with SERPs, like really the websites where we actually review the products and so on and so forth. Those sites are not that much successful anymore. So these are just a complete fell off. I'm not going to flaunt about it. Like we are still making six figures with those websites and so on and so forth. We are not. So the biggest driver right now is my own agency, and we have some e-commerce brands that we work on. So these are personally on e-commerce stores. So that's pretty much it. My specialty, as you can judge, is link building in SEO, and I will try my best to share some stuff and really take care of your time, and you can learn from it.
Great.
So I appreciate it. We will learn, I will learn something from you, and I will share some stuff that you can learn from. So yeah.
Wonderful. Before we go into that, like what attracted you to SEO? There's a lot of ways to make money on the internet. Like what in particular attracted you to
SEO? So honestly speaking, it was money. Honestly speaking, like there, like I tried my best with the crypto stuff, or just hanging around like graphic designing, video editing. But I was designing like 5 posts per day for a designer, and it was like for the Shopify store, and he was paying me only half a cent for a banner, right? So like then I got a gig for video editing, and it was like $30 for 25-minute video. And then when I saw like people making really good money with SEO, like, and especially through selling links, so that attracted me a lot. So why not to make it give it a try? So at first, like I really hate that shit, like follow your passion, all of these self-development gurus. And if you don't have any profession that is your passion, just go ahead and make that profession as your passion, right? So just don't listen to these online gurus, they are making money from you by selling you motivational
Yeah.
courses and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to do something that you absolutely hate, because then you're not going to
100%
want to
yes.
do it. But at the same
100% yes.
time, if what you're passionate about is like fly fishing or something, there's no way to make money with that. So
Yeah.
I think there's a balance there. Like everybody says, you either have to
100%.
do something you hate or something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I like SEO. I'm a pretty good SEO. I've made a
Yeah.
lot of money with SEO, but I'm not the best SEO in the world. I don't have a burning fire to get up and like build links and do things like that. And if somebody does, that's great. But I like it enough that I can enjoy doing it, but it doesn't consume. It's not something I'm obsessed with. So I think that's kind of the same thing you're saying, right?
Yeah, 100% yes. So I have a degree in software engineering. So
Me too.
that really, yeah. So, the love of search engines, understanding how stuff works and, implementing it on our own websites. So recently the semantic SEO stuff got really, really, it's a buzzword in the market, but it really is just understanding how search engine works and you can optimize it accordingly. That's pretty much it, right? So with all of the topical authority and that stuff, it's just understanding how the search engine is working behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're right. That is an absolute buzzword. Another one that's going around is classifier. I don't know if you're on Twitter much, but everybody's talking about the site-wide classifier, and no one knows what they're talking about. So.
No.
All right. So let's talk about. We had two main things that we want to cover today. We want to talk about running an agency. You talked about that, said you're really good with SOPs and procedures, but we want to talk about link building. So let's start with the link building side, and then we'll get into the SOP side as well. So link building is not just a thing. Like there's a lot of different people that say they do link building, can mean a lot of different things. So what type do you do? Do you focus on guest posts, digital PR, PBN links? What's your philosophy on link building, and what do you kind of do and recommend?
Yeah. So honestly speaking, like we do like a lot of stuff in the link building, like everything that falls in link building other than PBNs. But like let it be digital PR, let it be press releases, let it be guest posts. But we are really good with the guest post and niche edits part, and those are not like hacked, like niche edits from hacked sites. So it's based on the genuine outreach. I know every single agency says that, but we have a proof to back it up. So yeah, we do a lot of guest posting on real sites with traffic, and they are relevant to to the target websites. So
all right, you mentioned traffic. Is that the main metric you look for, or
100% yes.
what are your favorite? I don't know, favorite's not the right word, but what things do you look for in a quality guest post site?
Yeah, so we have around like 20 or so points that we check before even validating a website to acquire a link. But the main thing is the organic traffic. And with the updates happening, the number one thing that we see is just, the traffic graph. If it's just, let's say 80% down, it's a big no for us, right? And then the type of topics that the website is covering. So the type of topics, what do we mean by that is the type of keywords that the website is ranking for. So if it's ranking for like some shared keywords, that's a big no, right? But if it's ranking for somewhat relevant keywords for us, that's perfect. And why do I choose the organic traffic as our number one metric is there are millions, not millions, but billions of websites, and a lot of websites pumping out every single day, every single second, and Google doesn't give a lot of traffic to every single website, right? So when you have a metric to have the organic traffic, that means you are clearly saying no to the websites that doesn't get traffic, right? So that's my point.
Yeah. Another thing I like to look at is how many keywords are, because a lot of times you'll look at that organic traffic number and it'll be really high, but it'll be like one or two great big keywords with a ton of volume and completely irrelevant driving it. And then another thing I like to look at is how many pages they have that are ranking and driving traffic. Because a lot of times if you find a site, it'll have one page that's driving all of its traffic out of thousands of pages. And if that one page stops ranking or it gets deleted or whatever happens, you're screwed, right? So that's another metric I like to look at. And that's something that took me a long time to figure out that was important, but it really is, because I would build like a link and be like, yeah, they're going to love this link. And they do. And then a month later, they look at it and the traffic has dropped to complete zero because it was only one page that was, or one keyword that was driving all the rank. So I think a lot of people that sell guest posts are genuinely don't look at that. And I don't think they're trying to be dishonest. They just, it's not something that they've learned to consider. So I don't know. Is that something you look at too?
100% yes. So the main metric would be, when it comes to the keywords, is there must not be a single page that is driving 80% of the traffic.
Right.
So right now we don't consider any website that is less than 1,000 traffic in Ahrefs. So we don't do like, if the website is getting traffic, that means the website is getting really good traffic, right? So 1,000 in Ahrefs means like the website is getting nearly around like 3,000 organic sessions per month. And for the keywords part, there must not be a single page that is driving 80% of the traffic. So we don't consider that thing. And another thing that I would add is considering the referring domain compared to the outbound domains, right? So if the outbound domains are higher as compared to referring domains, that means the website is selling links clearly.
Yeah.
So that's a good. I shouldn't tell it. I shouldn't share it in the live stream. But again, it's a metric that you should look for when you're acquiring links. Since,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned recent updates and traffic drop off. Some of that is an Ahrefs update, and some of that is a Google update, right?
I'm sorry.
So you mentioned one of the things that you look at is they had a lot of traffic and then it went away. And because of recent updates, some of that was Google updates that slapped a lot of like niche sites, like we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then some of it's just, I think Ahrefs updated the way they calculate traffic too, because I know.
No. I'm talking about Google updates specifically. Okay. So if I'm okay with the website traffic going up and down in previous, years, but I'm not okay with the website that completely fell off and then never came back. So that's what I mean.
Unfortunately, there have been a lot of that over the last few months.
Yeah. So honestly speaking, like we have checked our portfolio, like we have acquired a lot of links recently in 2024 for our clients. And then when we checked all of those links, one of our clients got links from 2 websites, and they were like completely fell off. But other websites are just growing like crazy, right? And the reason behind that is we do not consider a website that doesn't have any proper monetization model. Let it be services, products, ads, affiliate, or anything like that. So the website should not be earning money based just on selling links. So yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a lot of guest post sites are really just a PBN, which I don't have a problem with. I know you said you don't do them, but I mean, you should still present it as a PBN if that's what it is. But it's a site that somebody found a good expired domain and just built into a blog and sold links to make money from. I have
a friend, like he owns 8-figure agency for link building, and he only builds links through PBNs.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff that gets sold as a guest post is really just a PBN, in my opinion. But anyway, okay. So you don't do you not do any link insertions or niche edit type links?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of them, but it's mainly from the websites. Again, with the if the website has got really good referring domains and the page is getting traffic.
Okay.
And third, the page is relevant to us. So these are mainly 3 metrics. If the page is getting like a little traffic, that's okay. Like there is no problem at all. You should not like aim for, if the page is getting like 500 traffic, you're not going to get that link. No. The point is the website owner knows that page is important. They are not going to link you from that page. So that's.
I was just going to say that's really hard to get, is a link that has traffic and is relevant and is willing to sell you something. If they are selling it, you're putting out 4 figures for one link.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Yeah.
So.
I have acquired like links from $800 just from that page. Since it was really relevant, it was getting the traffic, and following all of those checkboxes.
Yeah. Well, a good thing to do, I think, is to build relationships with site owners, because then you have sites where you can get either, right? Like you can get a guest post on that site, and then maybe if you happen to find an existing post that's good for a client or a site or whatever, then you can also say, can we get so it's a way to it's a little link building hack, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. 100%. Yes.
Umar doesn't like that. I just shared that. I can tell. So, all right. So let's talk about anchor text. So how do you recommend to your client? I mean, you probably let them choose whatever they want, but how do you recommend to them to go about it? Because a lot of people say you shouldn't use keyword anchors. A lot of people say you should. Do you go to the homepage? Like where do you choose what to link to, and what anchor text do you recommend?
Yeah, a really good question. I appreciate it. So, I always say the answer to SEO is not it depends. The answer to SEO is already on the SERPs, right? So Google, you can literally go ahead and reverse engineer what's already on the SERPs and see what's working in Google right now. So based on for the anchors, for the number of links you need, for the in what DR buckets you need those links, just go ahead and analyze what type of links that the competitor has got, what type of
Mhm.
anchor text that the competitor is using. So what we do is we create a Google sheet based on what type of anchor text the competitor is using, and we divide them into 5 buckets. I have a full blown video on this topic on my YouTube channel as well, like literally the anchor text strategy. So then we create a sheet and analyze what buckets that anchor follows, like topic anchors, keyword anchors, URL anchors, or just the branded anchors, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. We only follow the competitors, whatever they are following. We are gonna just overrank their links profile. That's pretty much it.
That's great. I think that a lot of people, there's two things I want to talk about here. A lot of people overcomplicate figuring out what works when the evidence is all right there for you.
Yeah.
I have an on-page tool. And it's also built right into Legit now. That's called Audit, and it does the thing that like a lot of other tools do, like Surfer and so on, where it goes out and pulls out the different things that are working. But what a lot of other tools do is put their own like SEO experience into it. What Audit does is it pulls literally the 8 factors that we think are the most important and gives you the data of what's in Google right then. It doesn't go by, it's the best practice to add your keyword in an H1. It tells you literally the data. And my point with that is that the information's already there, and you should make your SEO decisions based on what's working as opposed as and what there's evidence of working. And that brings me to my second point, as opposed to what Google actually tells you. This is a big fight that I see between white hat and not white hat SEO, because I don't really know what qualifies as what, but they'll sit around and read what Google's patents or their blog posts and stuff and say, this is what Google says you should do, so this is what you should do, when the evidence suggests otherwise. I guess I don't know if there's a question there, but I guess, do you agree with that? Like, it's more important to make your decisions based on evidence and what's working, as opposed to like what somebody told you works.
Mm-hmm. So that's what, like, I originally follow SEO tests. Like, if you don't have money to invest in SEO tests or SEO experiments, just go ahead and follow some those guys who actually run SEO tests. For example, one of those people is Kyle Roof, right, from
Mhm.
IMG. So that guy literally share all of his stuff in his community, like, this is what's working, this is what's not working. So it's right now, it's not based on opinion, it's more of based on data, right?
Right.
So it's not like just go ahead and put 5 keywords in H1, put your keyword in URL. That guy literally tested it out and sharing the experience. So that's one thing. And the thing that you were talking about is, I have seen, like, we mostly worry about SEO rather than doing SEO. Like, you
Mm,
have created a tool, right? And it can literally tell you everything that the page need. And people will really start thinking about it. Okay, how we can make it, more complex, how we can make it more, how I can add my 200 points in it, rather than those 8 points that Chris think are the ranking factors. So
mhm.
we mostly try to worry about SEO rather than, doing the shit. So that's my observation.
Yeah, I agree with that. My friend Charles has said that before too. That the reason that a lot of people fail at SEO is because they don't do enough. Like, they don't do enough SEO. Like, they're sitting around on Twitter or Facebook, and I was going to use a bad term, like, just talking about it rather than just going and doing it. And the only time you should do that is on my streams. You should watch mine, but everybody else, you take what you do and go implement it rather than sit around talking about it. And white hats, I call them white hat purity ponies. they are the absolute worst about that. Like they will sit and preach to you, Google says this, so that's what works, and they've never ranked a fucking site in their life. So
Yeah. So the way
and those
I
are the
do
ones
is
that got hammered in the last update too.
yeah, like literally 98% of SEOs that I have met, only two businesses are surviving right now: is local businesses and e-commerce businesses, and the third one is the SaaS businesses. Not everyone has the budget to uh, create any SaaS product and market it, but these are the three businesses that are surviving right now, as per my observation.
Same. Pure content sites are, affiliate or
They
ad
are,
sites. They got
yeah.
destroyed in the March update. So it's
Yeah.
there's a lot of whining on Twitter about that for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I think that's great.
One thing that I wanna talk about is that we really get overwhelmed with all of the knowledge. Like literally, you are hearing me talking about it, and you're hearing Chris every single week, talking with experts and so on and so forth. But in order to implement the stuff, you should really reduce the time. And Chris, don't hate me saying this. So just reduce your time to consume the stuff and increase your time to implement it, right?
Yeah.
So how I do it, basically, let's say if I'm watching a course, if I'm watching any live stream or anything else, so I'm putting my time out there, right? So I make my notes. What are some action points that I can implement in next week or in next month, right? It could be related to on page, it could be related to a link building strategy, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So that's really it. So
Yep.
it's the best way to implement the knowledge that you have got.
Yeah, like in whether it's a live stream or a video or a course or a post or whatever, there's usually like one or two things that you can take from it and go do it. Don't turn it into like a TV, like Netflix, like SEO Netflix, I guess is a good thing. I'm going to see if I can't trademark that. But, and, a lot of people do that, right? Like they'll go consume video after video after video. What do you think of this person's strategy? What do you think of that person? It's like, just go try it. Like that's going to work better than anything.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about testing. Let me ask you your opinion on something that's I find to be I'm at odds with a lot of testers on. How effective do you find single variable testing to be?
Yeah, so it's very, very hard with the link building stuff, and it's very, time consuming. But with the on-page stuff, it really works. And the third thing is with the user signal. Um, I don't think so. Like you can really fake it at massive scale, but that's the we really don't think about the user signals when it comes to SEO, and we just forget about it. Like push the content, have the build XYZ number of links, and then just set it and forget it. Where is the user signals gone? Right?
Right.
So it's mainly is the thing, and it's becoming more and more popular in coming months or years, and it will be even more important with this AI shit happening. So since Google learned a lot from YouTube success, right? YouTube success entirely depends on user retention, how long they are watching your video, how long they are staying, and that will be the base in coming years for SEO as well.
Yeah. As far as single variables, I don't believe it's an effective way to test for SEO because doing one thing without doing the other, that one thing might not work. Doing that one without doing the other, it might not work. The two of them together generate the effect. So now it's not a single variable that you're testing anymore. And I think a lot of testers miss that. And it's something that I have gotten into arguments with other SEOs about because I think that and part of it, to be perfectly transparent, is people that will buy a service on my platform will buy like one service and not immediately get a result and determine that that technique doesn't work. But that technique might be part of a greater whole that they haven't put together. So it's something that I think a lot of SEOs need to get better at.
Agree.
Yeah. All right. So you talked about user signals in YouTube. I want to touch on that before we move on too. That's something I'm finding is effective for website SEO is building brands elsewhere. So like the traffic I get from YouTube to Legit has helped Legit rank for SEO terms. And same with like Facebook and all those other things. It's and I'm seeing it in other places too, right? Like I think that getting those branded searches from people that see you on other platforms and then go to your search for your brand name and then go to your site from that, I think that boosts your entire site. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. So with before this update happened, and content sites, not getting any major success and so on and so forth. We 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 were doing the same stuff for one of our client based in China, and they are surviving literally every single update. So right now you are seeing SEOs talking about build a brand, you should have traffic diversification and so on and so forth. If you look at other brands, they are really doing it without thinking about we want to be a brand, we want to diversify our traffic. They are just doing it
Right.
with the YouTube stuff, with sort like the email stuff, and they are driving the traffic from other sources, right? So it's really is the base of the brand, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree. It's something that I don't know why isn't something you would want to do anyway. Like why would you not have an active on the major platforms anyway, right?
yeah.
So it just makes a lot of sense. Now we've been talking about YouTube. You told me before we signed up or before we got on that you've been going hard on your YouTube channel. So it's there on the screen. It has been for a while. Wasn't that a nice segue? I'm so good at this. But can you tell us, just tell us about your channel, why you decided to go in on it, and how it's working out so far, and that sort of thing?
Yeah. So it's working very well for me, like from personal branding point of view, in my opinion. Like, I have got really good and positive feedback for my channel, and the motivation behind starting this channel was really, sharing some actionable tips, insight, and strategies, and whatever I'm working on, right? So, what are the strategies that I'm following currently? And secondly, to educate my future clients, right? So if they have anything to, like, literally a lot of leads recently coming in, and if they ask any question, I just answer the question nicely, and then I put my own video into it. Like, I have explained the whole full-blown process, what we are currently doing here in this video. Like, for example, they asked the question about anchor text strategy.
Mhm.
Hey guys, are you gonna follow the anchor text strategy XYZ way or anything else? So I just share my own video to them. So that's really it. And lastly, like, I don't plan to share anything like what is SEO, or top X ranking factors about SEO, and the stuff that we have seen for like past 10 years. So I will be sharing more of the practical stuff or the actionable insights that you know uh, really resonate with the audience. And secondly, they can go ahead and implement it either on the same day or in next week.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah. There's probably somebody watching thinking, but if I do that and I teach them how to do it, then they can do it themselves and they won't have to hire me. All you have to do is say at the end of the video, and here's how I did all this stuff. You can do it yourself, but if you don't want to, let me know and I can do it for you. That works
I
so
do
well.
that. I do that.
So do I. It works so well. Like, I have a video from 2016 that still I get a sale from occasionally, where I was like, here's how you do this Google Images thing. If you want me to do it for you, let me know. And it
Yeah,
works, like, because people are lazy and they don't want to do it
yeah,
themselves, or they think
yeah,
they don't know how, even after having watched it, and they'll
yeah.
hire you. So it's like, don't be afraid to give away most of your stuff. Like, don't give away trade secrets, but the you can give away 90% of it and it'll still be a ROI positive. Alex Hermosi says the same thing. So
Yeah. So, like, learned it from Alex as well. Like, you should literally go ahead and share all of the stuff that right? But you should really not connect all of the doors that okay, here is XYZ, and here is ABC, and you can connect like this strategy with that one. So, like, literally, you are sharing 100% of it, right?
mhm,
So I don't agree with that. The point is, like, there is some stuff going on that you are currently testing. So if you haven't implemented it yourself, you should not really share it,
I
right?
agree.
It's
Or at least
just
give that, at least give that
infopreneur.
disclaimer.
Yeah, it's just infopreneur. It's not like you're the expert sharing the strategies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for me, I want to give, if it is something that I'm testing, it'll be a live like study. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be like, I'm gonna see if this works, and it may not. And that, I think it's okay as long as you're that transparent about it. But you're right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
what a lot of people will do, and I made a joke about this yesterday that I'll talk about in a second, but a lot of people will do will like they'll like get one success, have something that succeeds one time and assume that that works, and they'll share that, and it doesn't work for anybody else. I made a
yeah,
joke about, and they'll turn it into a course. I made a joke about that yesterday because I have another brand that I'm starting, and I launched the YouTube channel yesterday, and I got like 10 subscribers. And I was like, how I 10x'd my YouTube subscribers in a single day. 997 course coming. You know, so and we say that jokingly, but people do that shit.
Yeah.
So don't, I guess, is the summary. But
Yeah.
to put a bow on the YouTube topic for now is I do a lot of consulting, and the thing that I tell every single person to do is be on YouTube and whatever other channels they can, but particularly YouTube, because it drives an insane amount of traffic. It's, to me, it's the best social platform because the videos are evergreen. Like, people will find them forever. You can give so much value, and it's been so good for my business. Even doing what we're doing right now has been so good
Yeah.
for my business, and I think everyone should do it that has,
Yeah.
whether it's SEO or
So,
whatever.
for example, if you can do that, like literally, YouTube is very hard. Let's be very honest, right?
Mhm.
It really takes time. It really, it's kind of a grind when you are just starting out. So the point is, if you really can't do that, what you can do is just at least start promoting a really good stuff on your website or something that you can, gather your email list, right?
Yeah,
So it could be, and not the freebie stuff, but it could be anything that you can promote as a to create the transactional relationship with your customers, right? Then you are really getting like really good customers on your list that you can just shoot them an email. If the website got hit, they don't know, just shoot them an email, and your revenue will just sustain over the time.
yeah.
So that's really it.
I have a spreadsheet that's an SEO. It's for agencies, and it helps them figure out how much to charge. And that's been a fantastic lead magnet because it's something that's actually valuable. I mean, it is free, but it's something that's
Yeah,
actually valuable to them, right? It's not just
100%.
here's this PDF that I made that, although that works.
Checklist or
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that does work, let's be honest, but it
Yeah,
doesn't build as good of a relationship in
yeah.
my example, or in my experience, with one exception.
And why I said the transactional thing is, why I'm not the biggest fan of freebie stuff is basically, for example, you are promoting a freebie, they subscribe to your, whatever you were promoting, but they were not really ready to give you money, right? And then, later on, when you try to sell them something, somewhere in their mind is like, we didn't subscribe for it, like we just subscribed for the free stuff, right?
Yeah.
But if you're charging like as little as $5 for whatever you're promoting, it could be like for your tool as well. In order to download this sheet, just go ahead and pay me $5. I put my time on it. So something like that. And
Yeah.
now they paid you $5, and you are building the transactional relationship right off the bat. So that's really the
Yeah.
philosophy.
Yeah, absolutely. SEOs tend to not think like marketers, because what you're describing is more marketing than anything. And I learned exactly what you're saying there from a digital marketer and Ryan Dice back in the day. That was where I learned how to do. And he
I
called
learned
it
it from Ellen. Yeah.
from who?
Alan Sultanic
Oh, okay.
from
Yeah, Alan
NHB.
is great.
Yeah,
Alan is fantastic. I love his group.
yeah, wonderful guy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, my point is that that's marketing, and they call it, I think, a tripwire is what they think offer as what I think they call it, and that works really,
exactly.
really well.
Really
So
well.
yeah, I agree. All right, well, let's move on to we talked. You told me before that you're really good with like processes and systems and SOPs. Can you give us some insight on how you go about creating SOPs and how you have people use them, or just anything you want to share on that topic?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So what I have seen, like especially when you are switching from a freelancer, since you guys have a lot of freelancers, and maybe a lot of them are listening to this live stream. So when you are switching from a freelancer to an agency, so it's really hard to make the switch, since you don't have the team, you don't have the processes. Like if you get like 10 clients next day, you don't have the processes dialed in to implement everything that you were doing. So what I recommend doing is go ahead and start at least recording the stuff that you are currently doing. For example, if I'm doing the prospecting, I would just go ahead and speak into the mic, create the Loom video. Okay, guys, here's how we are going to do it. We're going to, open Ahrefs, put the website link, and so on and so forth. So I will explain the steps myself consciously. And then once we have the video, I will download the transcript, go ahead, put it into ChatGPT, and ask it to create an SOP around it. So it will be a step-by-step SOP for that. So, and then I will take that SOP, hand it over to my VA, and put it in my Google Docs. And then we have a recorded video as well as the documented SOP. So that's really it. It's not that difficult. Just start recording the process that you're currently doing, and by the next year you will have everything in the form of documents, in the form of videos that you were doing previously. So how I did it, I figured out what are the tasks that I'm doing currently this year. It could be like prospecting. It could be like finding the email stuff when it comes to link building. It could be like negotiating with the webmasters. But I made a goal that I will not be doing all of this stuff on this task list next year. So that's really it. So I started creating SOPs around those tasks, and now we have like literally SOPs for every single thing. Like if we press a button, if we click a button, we have an SOP for that.
Another thing I learned from Ryan Dice when it comes to SOPs is you get them built, and then when you hire someone new, you give them that and let them try to implement it. And if they hit like a stumbling block somewhere in that, you figure out what they did wrong or what the problem is, and you fix that. And then you add that into the SOP, and then you make them go through it again until they can get all the way through it without hitting any roadblocks. And that's how you can really optimize them too. I don't know if that's something you've ever looked into.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way we explain it is, it's really a bad word, but again, your SOP should be something that really a stupid person or an idiot can implement your stuff. Really, they don't have to learn about your technical terms or technical stuff, and they can really just go ahead, take your SOP and implement it. So that's really a good SOP in my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's the definition of good SOP. So
Yeah, I agree. And what I described is how I've gone about, excuse me, about optimizing them, because it's never going to be perfect the first time, at least not in my experience. So
100% yes, I agree.
yeah. Okay. And how would I put this? If how important is it as like you start doing that like day one of your agency, like document everything you do, even if you don't have anybody else? Like, should you start doing that, and then that way you have it? Is that how you go about it?
Yeah, honestly speaking, I'm not sure like if you should do it, but this is how I did it. Like I start like literally I didn't have any team members in my team, but I did know that I will have like 15% team, 20% team in future, and I will not have time to do this in
Right.
future. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start, creating, documenting all of my processes. I have my full blown course on SEO in my own local language for my full team members. So if any intern join us, we just hand over the course to them, and then later on we hand over the SOPs to them. So yeah.
Excellent. All right. Before we move on, because I want to get into AI because we have a little bit of time left, but do you have anything else you want to add on that or talk about on that before we?
Yeah, I have some ideas for the link building. Like, um, it's really like we have learned a lot from this, but we never tried to implement this stuff. And it's the patent link building, it's the tools and trendy articles. So this really is it's the linkable assets that you can go ahead, try and follow it. So what do I mean by linkable assets is you don't have to actively do the outreach to get the links, right?
Yeah.
So the number one strategy that I learned from Eric from onpage.ai, and it's really effective one. It's like you find a patent in your niche, like it could be anything that's explained in complex terms, and you really simplify it on your blog post, right? And then just go ahead and start promoting it to your audience. It could be on social, it could be on Reddit, it could be somewhere else, right? And you may start just if it's a statistical one, you can run ads on it, right? So when journalists are linking to statistical pages, they don't really look at if it's an ad, if it's something else. Since we are marketers, we don't really click on the ad when we are looking for results, right? We
Yeah.
just go ahead and scroll up and then find the organic result and click on it. But journalists don't have time for it. So
Right.
you can even run ads on it, and you can get some juicy links out of it. And the second thing would be is the trendy articles. You can use two tools. One is obvious Google Trends, and the second one is exploring topics. It's finding the trends that are about to take off, right? So, for example, if you knew that there is a term called ChatGPT, and you knew it before the launch that it's going to take off in upcoming months, and you wrote about it like it's a technology, and you are working in tech niche, and you wrote an article about it. Now imagine how much links you would have got before the launch of it, or before it really took off. So it's really finding the trendy topics in your niche before they take off, and you write on it. Google is going to recognize you as an expert in that niche, number one, and you can get a lot of links out of it. So, and the third thing would be, it's obvious one, but I haven't seen like literally businesses implementing this, is tools. It could be calculators, converters, generators, and they really complain like, we can't find anything, like we can't find any ideas about it. When ChatGPT is there, why you can't find it? Just go ahead and explain your audience, explain your website, like what your website is about, how you are monetizing your audience, and so on and so forth, and what could be the best tool for them, and just create the tool using ChatGPT. It's really is that simple. So you don't need to have a software engineering degree like me and Chris, or anything like that. You can create the tool literally in just 3 days or 1 week, depending on the complexity. It may take like 2 months. So
Right. Wow, that whole 5 minutes was worth. I should have charged. I think I should have charged for that. That was brilliant. You talked about like link baiting, and again, that's what it is, right? Like link baiting or link magnets or whatever, by creating something so valuable that people naturally
linkable assets, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm just recapping this for people who may have like not grabbed it all. You talked about trending topics. That worked out well for me when the day that ChatGPT came out and everybody and their brother was talking about it. I was like, let's get some blog posts on the legit blog about ChatGPT, and they've ranked ever since because I was ahead of the curve on that, and it attracted
Yeah.
some links. And then the last one was, God, I already forgot. The tools and calculators and stuff like that. Like, it makes me think I should put my pricing calculator on a site somewhere and like link to that. So that's all really, really fantastic link building stuff. That thank you for sharing that. Hopefully some people watching will go implement some of that. And
if you really go ahead and check the backlink profile of Exploding Topics, it like that guy Brandon, it's literally following the same stuff. Like they wrote about the ChatGPT users, their statistics, and they are ranking, since like maybe 1 year or so. So they just noticed the trend, and they just wrote about how many users ChatGPT has, and every journalist was just linking to that article. So that's my point.
I'd never heard of that tool before today, so I'm gonna have to check that out myself.
It's so I hope so. Brandon, right? So it's a new tool by Brandon. Brandon was following all of the stuff with Backlinko. Once Backlinko was sold, he started working on Exploding Topics.
Oh, I didn't know that. You're talking about what's his last name? Brandon.
Brandon. It's the full name.
Brandon. Yeah. Brandon.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I'm not great with names, but yeah, I didn't know that was. I didn't know he was doing that. That's awesome to know, and good for him on selling that. By the way, he got a lot of shit. He got a lot of shit for that, and so did SEM Rush. But I think that's like the dream is an exit like that out of a blog. He's probably the one of the biggest blog sites I've ever seen to get sold. All right, so we got some time left. You talked about AI a little bit, so can you tell us how AI is influencing or helping your SEO, or how you're implementing it, or wherever you want to go with it?
Yeah. So I really hate it when businesses say we are using AI and stuff, and literally they are just using ChatGPT. Just be honest about it, right? So if you want to say like we are using AI, just say like if you are using ChatGPT, say similar, like something similar. Something simple, like we are using ChatGPT in our processes. Well, we are using AI in our content creation process, and mostly with ChatGPT. Since I have seen most of the tools out there are not that much good with the generating the content, and they are really using OpenAI's
it's a wrapper.
API. Yeah, so it's just a wrapper. So what we did is we defined our own principles, our own rules, our own guidelines to create the content, and then we have our writers who can generate the content based out of that. So that's really it. And one thing that was a really, really game changer is generating the content section by section. You will really love it, right? If you implement it. So just go ahead. If you have any topic in mind, just research the headings for that topic out of your competitors, right? And then start generating the content section by section. And there's just one step that you should do is just go ahead and define what you want ChatGPT to explain in that heading, in that section, like, and in what format. It should be like bulleted points. It should be
Mhm.
single paragraph or anything else, and you will really see the content that you generated from, like, hey ChatGPT, can you generate me 1,000 words blog post on XYZ topic, and compare it with this approach of generating the content section by section, and you will really blown away with the quality that you get. So
Fantastic. Yeah, I don't do a lot of it like personally, but when I do, that's exactly what I did. Because I found if I asked for a 1,500 word article on topic, it sucked. But
it's yeah,
when I created like the H1 and then the H2s and then asked it to do each one at a time, it did a lot better. So it's
yeah,
good to hear that that's a good technique, I guess is what I'm saying.
yeah.
So
And one thing that you know that you will really love is asking ChatGPT to rewrite the stuff. So it was a really game changer for me. So for example, if it sounds robotic, if it sounds like a machine language or something like that, like using the cringe word elevate, unleash or anything
digital
like that.
landscape.
So you should just really go ahead and ask it to rewrite it and sound less robotic and more human friendly, and you will really see the difference. I'm not saying like you should really just pump out 1,000 articles like this and just go ahead and publish it. You are just polluting the web. I'm talking about how you should really create the process to generate the content using ChatGPT. So yeah.
Well, you kind of just answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do you think about? Because I had Julian Goldie on a few months ago, and he's great with AI, and he generates thousands of articles, and has had a lot of success.
A
What's your
lot,
take on
yeah.
that? I know that I'm kind of getting a vibe already, but what's your opinion on thousands of articles and mass AI content?
Yeah. So Julian first things first, Julian is one of the best friends when it comes to SEO. Like, we really chat about it on WhatsApp or wherever we want to discuss. So, but with the approach of generating thousands of articles, I agree it works, but for the short term. So if you are aiming for, like, if you're aiming to build like rank, earn and burn. So if that's your approach, just go ahead and build it, right? At the end of the day, it's just the algorithm, right? If you can track it, just go ahead. But if you want to really build a sustainable business, I don't recommend doing it,
Yeah,
right? So if you have a website like that's very dear to you, but uh, I would not recommend generating thousands of articles using AI and put it on your website. For example, you're not going to do that with Legit, do you?
absolutely not. I won't accept even
So
one piece of AI content, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. So that's my point. But if you have a website that you want to just make couple of bucks or $1,000 out of it, just go ahead and build it. So
Yeah,
that's really it.
yeah. So I guess to sum that up, you're saying that if it's vital to your income or your life or it's important to you, it's not worth the
Yeah,
risk. But if it's just
yeah,
something that's like a hobby and you want to just crank out some extra bucks,
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, and secondly, you may use it just for the testing purpose, like you for your learning purpose. Like,
Right.
what will happen if I publish like XYZ content using ABC ways, right? So if it works, just double down on it, right?
Yeah.
So just don't share your strategies and stuff like with the world, how I made XYZ amount of money. Just double down on it.
Yeah.
If it's working for you, just go ahead and implement it more on more websites.
Well, let me ask you a trap of a question here. Do you think Google can detect AI content?
Um, no, and I have a reason to claim that. So, Google is really relying on user signals, how your visitors are interacting with your website, with your blog, with whatever you wrote on your website, right? So they really can't read the article itself. So, in my opinion, it's really, I think, if you optimize it well for search engine and the users or the audience is staying to read the content, that's pretty much like you did your work. So
Okay. All right. Well, I don't agree, to be perfectly honest.
uh,
I can read an article and probably 90% of the time tell you if it's AI or not.
mhm,
And I don't want to, and maybe I'm naive, but I don't want to assume that people that and brilliant engineers can't come up with a way to, not all the time, of course, but detect it more often than not. And a lot of people will
mhm,
justify that they can't by the fact that they're ranking with some AI content and it hasn't gotten slapped. And the analogy I use to tell that to people is that I can drive 5 or 10 miles over the speed limit. I'm sorry, I don't know what metric you guys use to track that, but I can, and the cops can see me and they'll let me go, because it's not that they don't know how to track that I'm going over the speed limit. It's just that it's not that severe. But when you start going 100 miles over the speed limit, they're going to pull you over and arrest you. And I think that's why a lot of these mass AI page sites get caught, is because they abuse it rather than use it. And I think that's so in my opinion, they can detect it, but they aren't 100% accurate, of course. But I think that they can. It's the same logic to me that, like, people think that they can just fire up a VPN and like a website won't be able to track that you're the same person. It's like, it's a lot more complex than that. Like, even with the data that I have on Legit, with like credit card processing, I can like go down, I can identify a MAC address. Like, so my point is, I don't think you're smarter than the incredibly smart people on these platforms.
Yeah. So that's why I said, like, if it's the AI content, if it's the shit content, users are not going to stay on your website anyways, right?
Yeah.
So that was the philosophy behind that answer. So
yeah. Well, that's another important point, right? Is that another downside to AI content is, even if it ranks, a lot of times it sucks. Like, it's not going to drive you any sales just because it's getting traffic. Like, 100%. And SEOs in general forget to bridge that gap a lot of the time. They just associate ranking with banking. And you have to remember, you need a human being to do something in order for you to actually make some money.
Yeah. So like, if Facebook can really track the purchases or the whole, customer journey on your website with just one pixel, don't you think like Google can do that as well? Right?
Exactly.
It's not costing them money. They have all of the data from your website, right?
Yeah.
So especially when you're installing the Google Analytics, I'm not saying like your Google Analytics is just analyzing it, but again, they can really track down if the user journey ended on that website or not, if they purchased your stuff or not, and so on and so forth. So they can really track it. So
they have a massive knowledge graph that you can literally never search for something online or talk about it online, and they can still figure out that it's something that you might be interested in based on the other things that you've done. For example, I wanted to buy a jump rope one time, and I never searched it up. I never like Googled best jump ropes or anything like that. I just went to the sporting goods store, bought one. And then the very next time I opened YouTube, there was a video on how to do how the best techniques for jump roping or something like that. I'd never searched it online, never talked to anybody about it anywhere online, and they still managed to know. So do you not?
Happened to me a lot of times as well.
Yeah. So I don't want to assume that the people that are smart enough to do that aren't smart enough to identify an article that says, in today's competitive digital landscape, as an AI. So that's just my take on it. Do you have time to take some questions?
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
let's
cool.
do that.
Anis says, yesterday I attended Umar's session on live class of Urazgar. Thank you, Umar, sir. He's a genius. I learned a lot in that live session. So there you go. Anis is one of our regulars here, and he's a great freelancer as well. Very, very nice.
Thank you so much, Anis. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, well, thank you, Amin. I get lots of compliments today for us. Stephen says, Gary Isles in a recent conference said that links have lost their importance as a ranking factor, but now he's backtracking on that statement. Gary Isles, for those that don't know, do you want to just tell us about him and maybe comment on this?
Yeah. So with the link stuff, like, there will be a ranking factor, since there is no way that Google can track like thousands of websites connecting, each other. So the concept of internet is really just, one website is not internet, but the whole web is just one website is linking to another one. So they really can, it's in their DNA, in my opinion. Like, they really can't track websites other than links. So they really can't do anything about it.
Well, the reason that Google won the search engine wars in their the early 2000s is because their algorithm was based on links rather than just on text, like Yahoo and Alta Vista and all those others. You say it's in their DNA. That's a great way to put it, because that's why they won, is because that was the factor that made them different and made their search results better. Now, their search results, in my opinion, are shit right now, But over the years, that's why they won, and they aren't going to just get rid of that, no matter what some white hat purity pony or people from Google themselves are going to tell you. So I agree. Is my I don't know what that says. Can
just go ahead. It's in a local language.
Okay.
We can go ahead on second question.
All right. How to build links, discuss new ways. Just go back and watch the stream. We covered a lot of great stuff. Hi, I watched this live. Thank you. Very useful tips. Thank you. Jason says, when it comes to ranking websites using SEO, what are the top 5 action items I can do for my clients monthly? I have my take on this, but you want to tackle that a little?
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. The first thing is I don't want to say monthly, but the main things are technical and on page will save you a ton of money on links, which, it's not great for people like Umar and myself, but getting that right in the beginning will save you a ton of money and a ton of time in the future. And then to me, the next important thing is building out it's another term that gets thrown around way too much in SEO, but the entity or the brand, building out those profiles, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, all that stuff is really, really important, and not in a direct way, but you have to establish that your website is an actual business or a thing that they can understand. From there, getting the on page, I already said on page. And then from there, I like to do, and you may differ on this, but I like to do like foundational type links first. So
I agree.
Yeah. Social media profiles, citations, Web 2.0, branded Web 2.0s, not old school shit with like magic emitter where you use thousands, but like yourbrand.weebly.com, stuff like that. I find that those will really help your later link building efforts as well. So that's 3. I don't know that I can get it up to 5, to be honest. That's the main things when you're getting started. What's your take on this?
Yeah. So it's when it comes to content is really, you answered really the whole thing, but when it comes to content, we really want to consider what are some things that are not already present on the page, like competitors haven't covered, and then we can add it, right? So it's really like we even did for one of our clients is analyzing the whole blog post and their things or the landing pages in Wayback Machine, if their content has been changed over years or over in the last months. So what kind of things that they have added, what kind of the content that they put out there. So yeah, it's just we conduct the whole content audit every 3 or 4 months, so and then share it with the clients. So yeah. Excellent. And with the technical SEO stuff, I would say just don't be so much, just don't complicate it, right? Just go ahead and just make sure that your basics are dialed in, and that's it. You are not booking.com, you are not an international SEO website, you are not selling to like 120 countries out there. So you don't really need a strong technical SEO department separately for your website unless you have like 500 1000 pages. So if you have like basic setup done, you're good, right? Just go ahead with the content and links as well.
I've had to learn a lot about technical SEO for doing the SEO for legit, which is a huge challenge because there's a lot of challenges, not to get too deep into it, but I don't control the content as much. Somebody might have a service page that's ranking and then they quit or they pause it or something, and I lose my ranking on that. So I had to learn a lot about technical SEO, and I've treated it a lot like an e-commerce site in that way, and getting like the categories and the technical stuff right. But
especially if you are into the e-commerce, and even if you have only one product store and you have like one category, you really need to double down on your technical SEO stuff. So
yeah. So that's where it's necessary. But what I was going to say after that is I've never done like I'll fix a few problems if they exist, but as far as like my clients and stuff, I've never gotten that deep into it because it's just not that important. So cool. Exploding Topics was the Brian Dean site that we're talking about. Salim says, good to see 2 legends in one stream. Well, thank you, Salim. Yash, who is helping me on a lot of things, says, nice one, guys. Anise says, how can we keep the website on any specific country? Suppose we're getting traffic from another country or we don't want to sell, sort of how we instruct Google bots to keep it CTR country specific. I mean, you can block that traffic, or I don't know why you would, but you can block that traffic. I would just let it be and just tell them, unfortunately, we can't help you. Like, it's still good to get traffic, right?
And it's really like you should really start with the ccTLD. For example, if you're only targeting the UK traffic, one thing that really helps is getting .co.uk domain right off the bat. So if you're starting it out, so that really helps.
Yeah. But I wouldn't worry about getting traffic that I don't want. Just, like, because I've had this question before, and like, who cares? Like, if they're coming from somewhere else and I can't help them, they're just going to leave anyway. Like, it's still better than
Just
blocking.
find another way to monetize them, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Throw a display ad on that page or something,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Dan, Maverick Ray, who's been on the channel before, says links for life.
Links for life.
I really do need to get a white hat person on here at some time just for like diversification's sake, because I've never had a pure white hat. And it's partly because I don't like them a lot of the time, and not because of their techniques, but they tend to be very pretentious and like judgmental. And that's why I've not done that. But I think I should.
Yeah, so we just don't do like only link building, but we do manage a lot of we provide managed SEO services to a lot of clients. So those who want to outsource their things to us, like for their own clients.
Yeah.
So it's SEO for life. Then so
yeah, that's a good point, actually. Is I don't know why there's this tribalism in SEO. Like, you know what my favorite SEO tactic is? One that works. I don't care what it has, or who says it's good or who says it doesn't, as long as it's ethical. Like, I don't want to get into like hack links and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as long as it's ethical and as long as it works, I think that's what matters. As a matter of fact, I would say that if you have a client and your job is to get them more business through SEO or whatever, and you don't do a tactic that will work because it doesn't fit your particular hat, you are being dishonest and doing them a disservice by not implementing something that could improve their business.
So one thing that you can use is just go ahead and just ask yourself, if it's something that I will implement on my own website, on my own brand, on my own, like the stuff that I'm doing currently, just go ahead and implement it on your client's website. But if it's not, for example, if it's something risky or you want to test it out, just don't implement it on your client's website. So this is how I do it. Most of the guys just go ahead and they test on their clients' websites. I don't recommend that.
Yeah, that's bad. You're literally taking someone's livelihood into your hands when you take on a client, and you have a duty to them to not gamble with that.
Yeah.
Anis says, do you think getting links from forum discussion are helpful for local SEO or e-commerce projects ranking now?
Like, I built forum links back in maybe 2019 or so. I never did that again. So yeah, I would not recommend doing it, since it really hurts the brand reputation in the longer run. But if you're really active on that platform, like if it's a niche specific platform and you are active on it, it could be automotive forum or your sports forum, and you are actively answering it, and then you're strategically putting your link out there, then it's perfect. There's no problem at all, right? You're gonna get the traffic out of that forum. Just think about it. If you can get customers or traffic out of that forum, that's good to put the link. But if you're just doing it for the sake of the link, I would not recommend that.
Yeah, like, people want everything to be black and white, and you just prove that it's not necessarily like that, right? Like, because I can just say no, forum links don't work, or I can say yes, that they do, but for the most part they don't, because what most people do is just use a software and build hundreds of them. I don't find that to be an effective strategy. I don't find it to be negative either. I just find it doesn't do shit. But if you have like time. Yeah, but if you are like back in the day, I was active on Warrior Forum, and I had a link to my then website, which no longer exists, but I had it in my profile, and that drove some traffic. Sometimes that's a valid forum or profile link. Or if you're just active in a subreddit, and you're talking about things, and you can get it past their moderators, then you can do that too. But just blasting them, no, I don't think that's good. Jason says, thank you both. Your insights are helpful. Umar says, how do you make a plan to get more links for local SEO websites? Focus on promoting the pages related to specific locations, citations, how much they account for the whole campaign. So I think the way I'm going to sum that up is, if you're doing local SEO, do you target a location specific page? And if so, how do you find relevant links for local topics?
Yeah. So honestly speaking, I'm not promoting my YouTube channel here, but I have a full-blown video coming out, and it's already recorded. It just needs to be published. It's already scheduled, on this very topic, how to build links for your local SEO, local business. So it's really like, I will give you a quick tip is just go ahead and find out how you can get links from the local area, local news websites, how you can sponsor them, right? I just ask my clients, if there is an event happening in your local area, just go ahead and sponsor that, right?
Yeah.
So the links that you get from that area is it's just, you know, so good that
Yeah.
it's not any other guest post can equalize that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm in our local chamber of commerce for Superstar SEO for no other reason than the fact that they give me a link from my profile. Like, I don't give a shit about their meetings or anything like that. They give you a link and it's super relevant and super powerful. And
Yeah.
when I first built that link, or when I first got that link, I threw like 10 PBN links at it and it pushed my site up like a rocket, like one of the most effective things I've ever done. So I
Yeah.
always recommend clients to do that unless their local chamber is like too expensive or whatever. But
Yeah. So that, I recommend doing the same with associations. I guess local chamber is the same with associations, or right.
Yeah.
So roofing associations, plumbing, and so on and so forth.
Mhm. Yeah, if they're like a lawyer or something, there's usually like organizations that they're a part of. If you set up a profile on that site and get a link from that, that's huge. So yeah. Do you share SEO process stuff? That's a bit much for one thing, but follow his channel and he'll probably talk about that more. But that's a bit much to get into at this point in the stream. In regards to SEO for getting leads, is it better to the clients to expect rankings versus getting leads? So when you talk to a client, do you sell them on ranking? Do you sell them on leads? Like what do you promise?
What clients want.
Yeah.
Right. So the point is like, if the client is more inclined towards the traffic part, we sell them traffic, right? If
Mhm.
they are more inclined towards, you know, getting the leads, we sell them leads. But I never ever promise the leads to them that you are going to get XYZ revenue out of it. I
Right.
promise my traffic matrices or anything else like organic traffic, based on the data, based on, you know, whatever the report that we created. Like if the competitor got, you know, at maximum like 50,000 traffic in the whole time, I'm not going to say like you're going to get 150K traffic out of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's really it. Since if you are promising leads, that means you really have to, you know, double down on copywriting the whole sales process,
Mhm.
where the customer is in the sales process, and so on and so forth. So sales is not in your hands, right?
Right.
So if you really can't control the amount of leads, but yeah, if the client needs it, you can sell it to them. So
If you're going to sell based on leads, you should do more than SEO too. Because like if you're going to sell XYZ leads, like why not run, you know, $10 a day Facebook ad? It's like those will
yeah.
probably work better, to be perfectly honest. All right.
Yeah.
Shahab says, I ranked 100 plus of AKI content without human touch for medium.com and it's ranked. Then I wrote human content for my blog website for same keywords as I was writing for medium.com. My website page is de-indexed. What will you say? I will say that it's because they trust Medium more than they trust your website, because Medium parasite SEO works very, very well right now.
Very well.
And Medium is one of the most powerful ones. Is that how you would interpret that as well?
Yeah. So I'm not into, I'm not big into parasite SEO stuff. So
Right. But I mean, I think that's probably what happened with him, right? Is that
yeah,
he,
it's due to the domain authority, in my opinion, like the real domain authority. Google trust more based on the links again. So they have got really good authority dialed in. So that's why they are ranking very well compared to the new website.
yeah, that's why
So
stuff like
your
Medium.
website is not the brand entity yet. They don't recognize your website as a to trust more. So that's why they were ranking very well for medium.com, but not your website.
Yep. That's why you see Forbes ranking for everything. That's why you LinkedIn, Reddit ranks for literally everything at this point. That's because Google trusts those sites, and they're, you know, it's really not the best thing in my opinion. I feel like the SERPs are pretty bad right now, but that's the way it's working.
And it's due to the audience as well. Like for example, if I see an article by medium.com, I will quickly recognize the name, right?
Yep.
If it's the AI content, I might not stay there, but I will at least read the content. Since it's from medium.com, I can recognize the name. So
yep,
that's one point.
Yeah. And unfortunately, some big publishers like Forbes are abusing that now. And I think eventually they're going to have to course correct on that. That's a topic for another day. Hamid says, in the case of a large e-commerce website, what are some practices you must avoid? I'm going to say worrying too much about the individual product pages as opposed to the category page. I think you should optimize the collection or category pages. And I think another tactic I find works well for e-commerce SEO is to use blog posts to do like informational content that links to a category or maybe a direct product page, and then build your links to that blog post. And I find that works really well. What do you have any don't do this for e-commerce?
Yeah. So with the blog tip that you shared, is I really like to think about where the user is currently in their journey. So if they are just, they just want to find the information on like how to stuff or anything like that, just don't link to it directly to your product page. Just link to it to the next step. For example, the next thing that they are going to do is search for the best product out there within that niche, and then you can link your informational stuff with the best one, and then once they know what's the best product, then you can link your on product page out of the best topic. So like just follow the user journey rather than directly forcefully linking the whole thing. And lastly, I have seen like people really mess up with the canonical tags and stuff. Just make sure, if it's a large e-commerce website, just make sure that your technical SEO is so good, other than content and stuff, links stuff. So technical SEO is a big help for the large e-commerce websites.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I want to like point out that I've taken away from the stream today is that, and basically what Amar just said, is that he thinks like a marketer almost more than an SEO, and I do too. And I think that's why we've had more success than the average SEO, is because we think beyond just how to get ranking. And I think that a lot of people in SEO miss that. You've mentioned numerous things. You mentioned Alan Sultanic, and who's definitely not an SEO. And you've mentioned a lot of other things beyond just doing SEO. So I think that's something important that people need to do more of. So
yeah.
I
always suggest people to just please start learning about basic things about funnels, right? It's not that complex. It's not that much, complicated. Just go ahead and start learning about how funnels work, right? How you can get the attention, and then you can really serve your audience well. It's way better than, how you can get the rankings, right? So with the Facebook ads that you shared earlier, we are running out of the time, but so for example, if you're running Facebook ads, and then you are getting the attention, people are not ready yet to buy the thing, right? They are just scrolling their Facebook feed, right? But eventually they are going to search for it, maybe like after a week, maybe after a month, and they are going to search for it. But if you are not there present, like they are going to search for like best shoes that you were promoting earlier on in your Facebook ads or anything like that, or a digital product that you were promoting. But if you're not there, that means you didn't really capture the demand. You got the attention, but you didn't capture the demand. So that's really a thing. So it's the basic it's the basis of building a brand, that you are everywhere now, right? If they search for you on Google, you were there. They were scrolling the Facebook, you were there. So that's really it.
Yep, omnipresence.
Yeah.
Tala says, if we build a tool-based website on CMS, in which language do you guys rank? It doesn't matter. As far as ranking, it doesn't matter what CMS you use. Just use whatever you're good with. We already kind of covered that. Most of the Web 2.0 websites do not allow images. Why it happens? Or Web 2? No, they're not necessary. I don't know that that's true, that they don't allow images, but just build branded ones and be done with it. So yourbrand.weebly.tumblr.whatever.com. And that's really all I do with Web 2.0.
And it's really helped with the local businesses as well, as far as I have tried. Since, when you're building the citations, especially with the new location. So if you want to apply for the new location, you're building the entity or, the whole with the address, with the name and stuff. So when you apply for the verification, they really don't ask for the video verification. So it really helps. So
yeah, that's a good tip too. Yeah. Nelly says it's getting hot in here. No, I'm sorry. Nelly says if you want rank in your city and the adjoining ones for a small local website, you should make homepage non-geo specific and create a geo page for the city you're in and the other areas. My answer would be yes. I like to do the homepage as a brand, like the name of your business, and then do a geolocation pages. Do you agree with that?
Unless you are doing rank and rent, unless you are doing it for generating the leads. So if you're doing it for client SEO, I would agree with Chris. But if you're doing for local and content, you can rank for the homepage as well.
Yeah, if you're doing ranking, I like to do just an EMD if I can find one and just fire that away.
Yeah, it's the quickest way to make the bank.
Yeah. Snoop Dogg says something in a language I don't understand.
I'm sorry.
I mean, if you know what that says,
yeah, I will.
Okay.
So the answer is yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. I think that's a good spot. We've been here for almost 90 minutes now. There's Umar's YouTube channel. It's Umar_Faizan_SEO. But I'm sure if you just search Umar Faizan, you'll find it as well. But I've put that in the chat and on the screen. Wow, this was a really fantastic stream. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to talk about or cover or tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, you can just search for my name on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm very much active on Facebook. I shouldn't be, but I'm getting business out of it. But so you can search for my name on Facebook and really connect with me. Or if you are an email guy, I would love to. I'm very active on my email. It's umar@growthwinner.com. Again, umar@growthwinner.com.
Okay.
So that's really it. So,
and that's the name of your business, right? Growthwinner.com?
Growthwinner.com is my business name.
Right. And that's where you do all your white labeling and all your stuff, right?
Yes, 100%. Yes. And if you have any special requirements, if you want to ask anything, so you can just shoot me an email. And if we are a perfect match, I would love to help you out. So no problem.
Excellent. Well, this has been a great stream. I didn't mean to keep you this long, but there was just so much good stuff that I wanted to cover. I feel like we could talk for another 3 hours if we wanted to. So thank you. Thank you. I know it's late for you and I'll let you get going, but again, thanks a lot. This was great. I learned a lot. I hope everybody else did too. Follow Umar, subscribe to Umar's channel and mine, and check them out. A lot of great knowledge there. And I think we're probably going to have Umar on again sometime in the future if he's up for it. So thank you.
For sure, man.
All right. And for everybody watching, thank you for spending your time here today with us. I know there's a lot going on in the world and you have a lot of ways you can spend your time, and that you spent a few minutes with us today is something I really appreciate, and I will never take for granted. So thank you for that. I'll be back on Thursday with Mads Singers. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about.
Wonderful guy. I would highly recommend you guys checking it out. All of the processes. I really didn't mean to stop Chris talking, but he's a really wonderful guy. Whatever I learned from the management's perspective, from SOPs, processes, that is the guy. So I would highly recommend you guys joining that stream. So
that's better than I was going to do. So thank you. Yeah, we'll have him on Thursday, and then I don't have anybody lined up, so I'm going to have to start booking some more folks after that. But if you want to make sure that you catch that, because obviously it's going to be a great stream, just like this one was, please click the subscribe button and notification bell. I'm told that if I ask that in my YouTube videos, I'll get more subscribers. I've never seen any data that supports that, but I'm doing it anyway. So thank you for that. And that's it. Last but not least, of course, figure out what you want out of life and go out and get it, because you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world. I'll see you again soon. Peace.